Welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Ciriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio. We're talking baseball kind of whenever. I am your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing great. My fantasy baseball team, my fWAR team, doing really well. It's climbed all the way from 9th up to 4th. Up to 4th right now. Fantasy, gotta love it, right?
Yeah, I really like it. It
brings out the best of people.
Exactly. And it's easy to be, short-sighted and not look at the long way, but when you look at the short sights and you see how your team's been doing in the past month compared to April, where your team got 7 wins above replacement in the month of April, even though they didn't play about a quarter of the month, and now they can barely scratch across 5. It's easy to get a little upset, and you just check the MLB app like every day and look at Wander Franco's stat line, and it's 0 for 3 again. And for reference, Daniel's been in an fWAR league before, but he just brought one to Springfield College campus, of which I am a part of a 10-person league. Both of us are a part of a 10-person league, and it's all 9 positions, except it's not specific to left, center, right field. Just 3 outfielders, 3 starting pitchers, 2 relief pitchers,
and a utility player.
And a utility player. That's correct. So it could be any position, but a lot of times DHs are put there. So you have those 10, 3 starting pitchers, 2 relievers, and you don't get to change your lineup. You only make 3 moves the entire year, and I think that's only if the player is injured. And it's just based on how much fWAR your team has. And I was the leader after April, as noted in the spreadsheet. I had 7.2, and I was consistently top 3 up until the last week. And now I've fallen to 5th, and Daniel has just passed me for the first time since probably the first week of the season.
Probably. I was in 9th earlier this month. Now I'm in 4th, mostly because I have Mookie Betts, who has 2.5 wins above replacement himself this month.
Yeah.
My knowledge, I'm the commissioner of the league. To my knowledge, no one has been slapped over the fWAR league. So we're doing better than some.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot.
That's what the entire point of that conversation was.
Yep. No one has been slapped about
it. Yes.
I love to see that. Yeah, I mean, if you did send a weird GIF, I would have driven to Voorheesville myself.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's been one of the funniest stories ever in baseball, I think.
It's funny,
yeah.
I don't think we need to look too much into it, and it's just whatever. No one got seriously hurt over it. Joc Pederson, havobviously is, I guess, the victim in this case. He's probably just going to shrug it off and go on. I mean, I think he's been having a much better time in the last few months than the person who dealt the slap based on, one of them won a World Series. One of them signed a multi-year free agent deal.
Yeah.
one of them signed a deal strictly so he can get traded, and
Probably won't even get traded. I don't think he has much value right now.
he has a 96 OPS plus.
Yeah. I thought it was worse. Maybe he started the season worse.
He did. He absolutely did.
Yeah.
He had like a negative 25 OPS plus in like the first couple weeks.
Yeah. But yeah, so the story of that is so randomly on
Friday,
yeah, like right after we recorded on Friday, yeah, Joc Pederson apparently got slapped during batting practice by Tommy Pham, and people didn't know the context, and then after it, like, Joc Pederson said it was a fantasy football thing related to having a player that's out on injured reserve, and then eventually it became because of a gift that was sent in the fantasy football group chat.
yes.
Which, I mean, I guess makes a little more sense. Not that it doesn't justify it, but it makes a little more sense because it was kind of poking fun at the Padres kind of falling off at the end of the year last year.
Which is very funny because, sorry to interrupt you, but Joc, like the gift that Joc sent was like about the Dodgers and Padres. The Dodgers were 2 teams ago for Joc at this point.
Yeah, true.
Because like if it was about when the Padres were falling off last year, Joc was on the Braves, and he didn't go Dodgers to Braves. He went Dodgers, Cubs, Braves.
Yeah. I forget when he said. I forget when he said that gift was sent. Was it sent last year, or
it had to have been sent last year because it was about them not making the playoffs.
Yeah, and it included the Giants, who weren't that good in 2020.
Yeah, because okay, let's just think about the timeline. Pham was on the Rays in 2019, so it couldn't have been then.
Yeah.
In 2020 the Padres made the playoffs, so it couldn't have been then. Had to have been 2021.
Yeah. And yeah, for reference, the GIF was like these 3 people, and they all had one had a Dodgers logo, one had a
Padres logo,
one had a Padres logo, one had a Giants logo that was put on them in post production, and they were throwing this thing behind them, and the Dodgers and Giants people they successfully got it back, and then the Padres person, it went straight up in the air and hit them in the head, and they fell over, and yeah, so poked fun at how all 3 of them were I guess they lifted off, and then the Padres just fell completely off. In those
it's very accurate to their season last year.
Yeah, in the second half, they really just fell flat on their face.
They ended up finishing under 500.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess Tommy Pham took a lot of offense to it. I mean, maybe it's justified to take a little offense to it, but to take it to a slap seems a little silly. But hey, I guess
Tommy
it's between
Pham.
those 2. Yeah, it's Tommy Pham.
Yeah, I can understand taking offense to it in general. Of course, the vibes are already probably down in the clubhouse to begin with, and to have people from other organizations clowning on you, that can't be fun.
Right.
Especially because this is people's life. These are people's lives. It's what they do for work. It's very different from a fan level where it's hey, your team sucks. It's not that. It's so much. I'm sure it's a lot more personal when it's the team that you're playing for, especially when you're watching from the distance of Atlanta.
Right.
If Joc was on the Dodgers or Padres, where it's hey, our team is good and your team isn't, which obviously that was the case last year, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Tommy Pham is kind of the guy that would do something like this. Like I remember in 2016, there was a video that went viral of like a Cardinals fan who was at PNC Park for like batting practice, and he was like yelling for Tommy Pham to throw him a ball, which as you do as a 16-year-old at a baseball game at batting practice, like we've all been there before, and he was like cursing him out for like wanting to get the ball, and it was a very weird move, especially as a fan of your own team,
Right.
16-year-old. So I always got weird vibes from Tommy Pham to that point forward. There was also that incident where he got stabbed last year. I know nothing about that, but I mean, I don't want to victim blame, but usually stuff like that doesn't happen for nothing.
Right. I guess. Yeah. I mean, he's an interesting.
Yeah, not that he deserved to get stabbed, but he probably did something to instigate it.
Yeah. It's he seems like an interesting character, and he just furthered that case more with this fantasy football incident. Yeah.
When I heard fantasy football, like I immediately thought it was a cover up of something worse, like the Jeff McNeil, Francisco Lindor, like raccoon thing.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was just the first thing that came to mind. And it turned out to be true to a degree, which is kind of shocking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it was directly about fantasy football, but it was, it was the fantasy football league group chat. Apparently there was a bunch of Padres players in it too. It's like not just Tommy Pham, and Joc said he wasn't even close with like most of them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because Tommy Pham won his fantasy football league last year, and he like tweeted about like the final results, and everyone's like, he still slapped someone even though he won the league.
Yeah. That was a really funny observation that was made on the internet.
Yes.
Man, I love that.
Yeah. Which is like it was very weird. Did you see the video of him slapping him? It was like straight out of TMZ, where like the camera was like very low quality. It was like 300 feet away. Like the slap happened in like, I feel like we're talking about the Oscars, but it happened in like left field, and the camera was like the first base dugout.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely like a press member who was on the warning track, like for batting practice, and like I mean, obviously it's like the park probably wasn't open for fans to sit in left field, so yeah, that's all you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very TMZ. That's a correct observation.
Yeah. But it was alarming.
Right.
I think. I don't know. What was very funny is for the other part of the show, we're doing like the trade market. We're previewing guys that might be available, and one of those guys is Tommy Pham.
Right. Yeah.
So I think he doesn't have a no trade clause, but if he did, I feel like I know one team he's not going to.
Yeah.
Can't imagine. I don't know if the Giants need outfielders anyway.
Right.
Like they have Mike Yastrzemski, they have like Darren Ruff, who's been good out there. They currently rank 8th in outfielder fWAR at 3.6.
Yeah.
They have Mike Yastrzemski. They have Joc, obviously, Austin Slater, Lamont Wade, who just came back from injury. They have Luis Gonzalez, who was magically transformed into a right fielder after 20 years of not playing, which is pretty incredible. No one not getting a lot of credit for that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, really not talking about it a lot.
Yeah, what's very funny is Albert Pujols gave up a home run to him when he pitched, so he's faced both Luis Gonzalez's before.
Yeah,
not as a pitcher, but I mean, like his rookie year, he played the Diamondbacks in the playoffs in that year.
Yeah,
in 01.
Yeah, very true. The same year he hit 57 home runs.
Yes. I thought you were talking about Pujols. I was like, there's no way he hit 57 in 2001.
Yeah, no. It's funny.
Did not
It's
happen.
funny. Like Gonzalez hit 57 home runs and he was like fourth in the league, probably. Like,
Yeah.
it was, yeah, because Bonds hit 73 and Sosa hit 64. So I think he was
He had an amazing season that year.
yeah.
It was so sick. Hold on. 325, 429, 688, 11, 17 slash line. Third in MVP. Yeah,
Right.
third in MVP. 57 home runs, 142 RBI, 100 walks. Yeah,
So good.
728 plate appearances, 162 games played. Guy was in there every single day. 83 strikeouts to 100 walks. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Especially in
One single stolen base.
728 plate appearances.
Yeah.
So yeah, only an 11.4% strikeout rate.
Yeah,
Good for
that was
him.
very good. And then he obviously won the World Series on the bloop single.
Yes. The man who hit 57 home runs obviously walks it off on a ball that probably had like a 65 mile per hour exit velocity.
Yeah. It definitely had like a 680 expected batting average though.
It did, yeah. That's the one thing I don't like about expected batting average is like, yeah, that, you know.
Well, to
that
be fair,
definitely-
bloops are usually hits.
They're always, yeah, if it's
Like,
hit
it's understandable why they have high expected batting averages, but yeah.
yeah, because like no one plays 200 feet from home plate. It's all,
On a ball that's sinking quickly
yeah,
because it was hit, 65 miles an hour.
yeah, like obviously those expected batting averages are high, but yeah, that's like the only time where
I mean, their expected
don't
sluggings are
love-
probably low. It's
Yeah,
probably
and
the
then-
same as the expected batting average.
yeah, and then like a 97 mile per hour 25-degree launch angle, like a no doubt home run to left field, it'll have like an expected batting average of like 360 because most of the time it's hit to like left center field,
Yes,
right center.
that's true.
Yeah. But anyway, anything more on this fantasy football saga?
Are we surprised that Tommy Pham still had this grudge after however many months it had been? Like how many? I'm trying to think of how many players in the league would hold this grudge for that long, like to the point of slapping someone. Like if you're gonna confront them later, that's one thing, but like he physically assaulted him.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm trying to think. Not a
I don't know,
whole
like
lot.
Manny Machado.
Maybe Manny Machado, but
Still, I don't think he'd go that far, that later in advance.
yeah, that seems more of an impulsive thing. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know. Weird to picture who would do that. I mean, I feel like you just don't know about who would hold a grudge until
Maybe like
it happens.
Joe Kelly.
Joe
But
Kelly.
I feel like he's more impulsive though. Like I feel like he'd let that go over time as well.
Yeah, and I think
I think if Joc was in the room with people when he sent that gift, some would confront him and maybe fight him. I don't think anyone would hold it for 5 months and then do it.
Yeah, no. Especially like Tommy Pham's on a new team.
Yes. Yeah, like Joc is on a new team too.
Yeah, they're both on new teams. And yeah, because of a gift that was sent.
There's also that thing about like supposedly there was a lot of money involved in whatever happened. That might have just been the fantasy football league.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense if they're all major leaguers playing.
True. Very true. Especially like veterans.
Yeah.
But like I guess that wouldn't necessarily have to do with the GIF. I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Well, I hope there's more updates throughout the story. It's the most fun story to follow.
It is.
Anytime there's more news about it, I gear up. I love it. So that leads into a little breakdown, an early breakdown of the trade market, which we'll get into because most teams are not going to be trading right now.
No.
Only if like a team is way out of it, but
or if a guy gets injured,
or if a guy gets injured. But even then, like, remember when Corey Seager got injured, like he got surgery in April, and then
the Dodgers traded for Trey Turner in July.
No, but in 2018, Corey Seager got Tommy John surgery, I think, and
They
then they traded for Machado like 3 months later.
Yeah. Yep.
When he was a shortstop.
Didn't they also trade for David Freese that year, or was he just on the team to begin with?
Did they trade for him? I think because I think he was originally on the Pirates.
Yeah.
And yeah, they traded for David Freese.
But by the way, it was very funny. Like David Freese was on the Pirates in 2018, and probably a few years before that as well. But every single time he went back to St. Louis, he got a standing ovation, even if it was the 27th time he had been back.
Yeah.
Like you would have thought it was his first at bat back every single time.
Yeah.
Because he was on the Angels. That's right. I forgot about that. He was on the Angels from 2014 to 15. Not that he ever went to St. Louis there, but like, so the first time he came back as a visitor was 2016. And from 2016 to 19, every single time he came back to St. Louis, he got a standing O.
Hey, he earned
it.
Makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense.
He earned it. Single-handedly won a World Series.
But yeah, so it's May. As we record, it's Memorial Day. We have another 2 months, almost on the dot until the trade deadline. But
they're doing it on August 2nd this year.
Okay, that makes sense.
Why did they stop doing it on July 31st though?
Well, last year I looked it up, and they did it on July 30th because it was a Friday, not a Saturday, and they didn't want to have to pull everyone from their day games.
Yeah.
On a Saturday, I guess.
Which was understood, especially during COVID.
And then this year, since I think they did it since the season is delayed, and they wanted to delay the trade dedeadline too, to give more teams more time.
Also, the July 31st is a Sunday, which that also makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know, August 1st would have made sense too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know they've done it on August 1st before as well, like 2016 or something like that. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, their trade deadline is a couple months away, but we can see where teams are trending, and some teams are doing what we expected them to do, which is not well. So we're seeing some players that they could be trading off. Who could use those players? So I don't know, where should we start here?
I mean, I just listed off a bunch of players from every team.
Yeah. Me too.
Do you want to go in the order that I went with?
Well, I only listed off like
I went by
10,
team.
I only listed off like 12 guys maybe.
Okay, I'll let you go first then, because I definitely had more than 12.
So what I did, I was looking at the standings, and like the how in Baseball Reference, if you go to teams, they have the standings, and then so the top left corner is the NL East. So I looked at the Nationals, and I saw Josh Bell, one of your favorites, who I mean, yeah, like last year had a 123 OPS plus. This year, I think it's like 125 or something like that. Very quality offensive first baseman, and he becomes a free agent next year. And I was looking at the first base, the team rankings in fWAR among first basemen, and last night I saw the Twins and Astros were in like the bottom 4 two competitive teams. Obviously, for the Twins, Miguel Sano was severely underperforming, and I think he
got injured.
Yeah, he did get injured, so all the more reason to maybe give Josh Bell a look. And then Yuli Gurriel from the Astros has been underperforming, and he's also, I believe, in his mid-30s, which always fools me.
Look at this. The Astros have the second lowest production. Actually, they have the worst weighted runs created plus from their first baseman in the majors, 59.
Yeah.
That Minnesota and Houston are bottom 4 in fWAR produced by first baseman.
Right.
So that's a good one.
So those two teams are like, some of the only competitive teams that don't have a lot of production from the first baseman. You could consider the Red Sox, but their first base addition is going to be Tristan Casas,
Yes.
who's their number 1 or number 2 prospect in their system. He's the one you could consider number 1 over him is 19 years old. So, he's like the number 1 guy coming up.
Also an ARR alum.
Yeah, Tristan Casas. Daniel interviewed him in the Woo Sox clubhouse. Who could forget? So did you put down Josh Bell as well?
Yes, I did. I put down a ton of people. I can promise you I probably put down every single person you did.
Yeah.
I didn't really go into statistics. I literally just listed everyone who could be available.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Let me count up how many players. Keep talking, by the way.
So yeah, Josh Bell. I got Astros and Twins would be good options. I guess I'll name off another guy. I listed, and with starting pitchers, I didn't apply them to any certain teams. I just kind of listed some, I listed 5 starting pitchers off, and then for a more specific position one, Willson Contreras is a guy like that. He's a free agent after this year, and some of the teams that have the worst production from catcher this year are the Astros and the Padres. The Astros and the Yankees. The Astros could definitely use him because, I don't know, they've been kind of riding with Martin Maldonado for a lot of years.
For defensive reasons.
Yeah, for defensive reasons. So I don't know, maybe they won't stray away from it, but I don't know. Contreras isn't the worst defender, and he's a great offensive producer. And then the Padres, I don't know if they'd go for him because they traded for Austin Nola a couple of years ago, and I wouldn't expect him to be, as bad as he has been this year, consistently. So he's probably going to get better. So I don't know if the Padres would trade for Willson Contreras, but he's out there for anyone that needs a catcher.
The Mets could also use one.
Yeah.
By the way, Astros catchers, do you want to guess their batting average this year?
158.
120.
Oh my God.
Their slash line is 120, 216, 213.
Yeah.
That is horrendous.
Yeah, not great. So it's
Martin Maldonado and who else? They've basically
Jose
the Astros
Siri?
basically and Jason Castro. No, Jose Siri's a center fielder. I can't believe Jason Castro is still playing. He has a 43.4% strikeout rate in 53 plate appearances. Yeah. Wow. Both of them have a 32 weighted runs created plus.
Yeah. You just defense, there's value in defense, but when the offense is
especially
that low,
a catcher.
Yeah.
Especially a catcher. I think the Astros get some of the best defense out of their catchers too. In baseball.
Right. But if the offense is that low, and then you got Willson Contreras, who's got a 130 something weighted runs created plus, you could jump your you could have 100% more offense.
Yes. Yes.
That might
Double
yeah.
the production. Actually, that'd be way more than doubling it. That'd be like quadrupling it.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the Yankees could like make a better offer, or like
They absolutely could.
yeah, and as well as the Mets. So yeah.
Have the Cubs gotten anything good thus far from any of the trades they made last year? Like I think like the number one person I can think of off the top of my head is Pete Crow Armstrong, who's now a top 100 prospect.
Yeah, I haven't
Like
really been keeping
who'd they
track.
trade for Chris Bryant?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, it would make sense if they got guys who were still very much developing and in the lower levels, because like obviously they're not going to compete anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably what they mostly did.
All right, so what are some of the what are some players you'd like to talk about?
I mean, I listed about 45, so
All right, well,
I don't
let's just
we won't go in depth with all of them.
yeah.
I'm going with another guy that I'm assuming you put down, Martin Perez.
Yep.
There's one team that just is screaming, that is just being screamed in my ear, just because it's the best fit. It's the St. Louis Cardinals. Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like
sure.
how, like they have Martin Perez. I know that, I don't know if this is necessarily what the front office looks like or looks at, but I'm pretty sure Martin Perez has a better fWAR than the entire St. Louis pitching staff, like rotation and bullpen.
Right. Yeah.
St. Louis has a 1.6 fWAR from their pitching, like all facets of their pitching. Martin Perez is at pretty sure he's at 1.7. He's at 1.7. Yeah, he's done more than the entire team. He also just fits the narrative of what they always go for, right? He's a soft throwing lefty who has very good control, doesn't give up a lot of home runs, won't strike out a ton of batters, but he'll make up for it in his ground ball percentage and his walks. I don't think there's a better fit. I don't think it exists.
Yeah, and I look at I mean, Steven Matz is injured right now, and he had a 6.03 ERA this year, although he did have like very good strikeout and walk numbers. He still struggled because of a lot of home runs he gave up. So like Martin Perez can kind of fill that void for the year that like Steven Matz was supposed to fill. Because Steven Matz throws a little harder than Perez, but I mean it's still kind of the same idea from the left side. So yeah, like yeah, that would be a very good fit. And like with pitchers, it's weird because I mean, most teams, even no matter how good they are, could use another starting pitcher and just upgrade. So, but like with this one, it specifically seems like a good
I mean, like it's there for the meme because the Cardinals always attract the same type of pitchers, and Martin Perez is exactly that.
Yeah.
He's probably he might be the best starting pitcher from this year on the market. Like considering this year alone, it's probably either him or Frankie Montas.
Well, yeah, yes. So then I'll add another guy to that who maybe would fit the St. Louis mold, especially like is a guy who's a quality like veteran. As I want to pull up his stats as well, but Jose Quintana.
I had him down as well. He's been very under the radar for the Pirates.
Yeah. I mean his expected ERA is not nearly what his ERA is, but he has a 2.15 ERA in 46 innings pitched. Average exit velocity against of 86.0 miles per hour, which is
what's the average launch angle?
The average launch angle is 9.4. So I guess that leans a little more ground ball heavy.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixture though.
Yeah, it is a mix. It's not necessarily extremely low or extremely high. Yeah,
I remember he had like a really high strikeout rate with the Angels last year, but also high walks. And it looks like both those have gone down. Yeah, last year between two teams, 12.14 strikeouts per nine, 5 walks per nine. This year, 7.3 strikeouts per nine, 3.33 walks per nine. But the home run to fly ball ratio has gone from 21.4% to 4.5%.
Yeah, right.
Which makes sense because he's a soft contact guy, and giving up fly balls is much more efficient this year than in years past.
Yeah, and he to go with the soft throwing component, his average four seam fastball is 90.6 miles per hour, and his average sinker is 91.1 miles per hour. So yeah, I mean, like his I don't think he's not going to sustain a 2.15 ERA, but he could be a potential like good middle of the rotation option.
Yes.
As he is coming from Pittsburgh, which they're not going to be competing this year. All right, who's also been intriguing for you?
I also put Frankie Montas, who I mentioned earlier. That's
Yeah.
a pretty easy one, right? I mean, he was expected to be traded last year, or last offseason, I should say.
Yeah.
When the A's sold off everyone except for him and one other person of value at the time. And he's been kind of just doing the same thing this year, right? He has 1.4 wins above replacement on Fangraphs. He's a 3.03 FIP. Just been fantastic all around. 3.28 ERA. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing that you've always known, right? I think he has 2 more years left of control. He does. I mean, his value is probably never going to be higher than it is now. Like, I don't see him. I mean, it would take a lot for him to do better than he's already doing, and he has more control. So,
yeah,
the time is right to send him off. There are plenty of teams that could use him. I mean, he's kind of the modern type of pitcher, very high strikeout rate. Also has very good control. Maybe this is an Oakland thing, but he's been very good with home runs. Only between 2021 and 22, he has 1.0 home runs per nine and also a 3.79 strikeout to walk ratio. So, I mean, he's everything you'd want. He's a legitimate ace.
Yeah, I could definitely see a like bigger market, or just a team with good prospects to hand off, making offers for Frankie Montas. Just simply like the Dodgers and the Yankees, maybe even the Mets. I don't know how many prospects they have to give off. They have
3 top 100s.
They have some guys on the what was the Rumble Ponies?
Yes. I mean, like if there's a guy out there that is being dealt top 100 prospects, Frankie Montas is probably that guy on this year's market, both offensively and pitching wise.
Yes. Yeah.
He might be the most valuable commodity out there this year.
Yeah, because like he's been consistently like this isn't a fluke season by any means. Like you can expect this kind of success from Frankie Montas. Like outside of like 2020 was his only like bad year of his career since 2018, and that was a shortened season.
Well, what year did he get suspended? I think that was 2019.
Yeah, 2019. He got he only made 16 starts, so I can only assume he got suspended.
Yeah, it was an 80-game suspension too.
So if it was 2019, that was the year he had a 2.63 ERA and a 3 flat FIP.
Yes.
And yeah, like 2021 and 2022, both 10 plus strikeouts per nine, less than 3 walks per nine, 1 home run or less per nine. Just very good in run prevention and peripherally.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, anyone could use them, and any team would have to make a very solid offer to retrieve him.
Yeah.
Should we stay on starting pitchers?
Why not?
Well, the Reds have two guys
The Reds have two, yes.
that they should have dealt probably earlier, but yeah.
I mean, was Castillo hurt like during March last year?
Possibly.
If so, it would make a lot of sense why they didn't trade him.
Right. Yeah. I didn't realize how long Tyler Mahle has been around.
Yeah. He's been
It's
around.
just he started being good in 2020. So maybe that's
Is he
why.
Second year ARB now? No, he's okay. Next year he's second year ARB eligible.
No, I think
or no, wait, last year. Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
he was just second year ARB eligible.
Yeah, so yeah, he has this year and next year of control. And yeah, I mean, like it would be better to trade him later in the season from a Reds perspective because he has a 5.53 ERA right now.
But he also has a 3.7 FIP.
Yeah, I mean he has a 3.7 FIP. So like that's probably that ERA is probably going to come down. It would make sense. But like, you know, in terms of trade market, I feel like maybe if his ERA was down, he would have a little more value. So yeah, there's.
I also mentioned he was my Reds player to watch, and I mentioned his home road splits, and they haven't exactly been there this year. He still has been better on the road, but he still has a 5.18 ERA on the road and a 5.83 at home. Better strikeout to walk ratio, less home runs, in right around the same innings pitched. I think it's 29.1 to 24.1, so it's 5 innings. I think that's kind of just a this year thing, right? Like the vibes are probably down in that clubhouse, especially when Votto was gone, because he's definitely the guy that picks that up.
Yeah.
But you know, you start the season 3-22. It's hard to imagine anyone's really going to be in the right mindset when they're on the mound.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Luis Castillo, like it's weird to get a temperature on him. Like
it is.
Like you know, last year was like a tale of two seasons from him. He had a very bad like first couple months and then became like the best pitcher for the next 2 months, and that was kind of weird. Ended up with a 3.98 ERA, 3.75 FIP. This year has a 4.35 ERA and 3.38 FIP, although like that's a very small sample size. He's only had 4 starts.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of have to wait and see what his value will be, because with both of these guys, with both Mahle and Luis Castillo, is if the Reds don't think their value is high enough this year, they could probably wait till the offseason or next year, because they both have this year and next year of control.
That is very true. And I don't think like people are crushing the Reds, because like right now, I can't imagine any GM is really looking at Luis Castillo like it's 2019, 2020. His strikeout numbers are pretty far down. His walk numbers are down as well, which is encouraging.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone's looking at him the same way that they would have in years past right now. That could change absolutely, but I don't know right now if that's the case.
Yeah, for sure. Like it can change with like a good 7-8 start span. But yeah, right now, like I would understand a general manager's hesitation towards Luis Castillo, or like giving anything significant up for Luis Castillo.
Mm-hmm. Very funny last year that he led the league in losses with a 1.20 ERA plus.
Yep. Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
I want to see how many of such seasons exist. Yeah, gotta love them. Gotta love wins and losses on a team that finished over 500 too.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, there's actually a lot of these seasons.
So I put down.
Hey, did StatHead change the pages from 300 to 200? That's so unfortunate.
Did they add more for on one page?
So there's 285 such seasons with 16 losses and 120 ERA plus. Normally there's 300 on a page. After 200, it says view next page. That isn't cool.
I thought it was always 200, but
no, for me it's always been 300. Maybe I got the update late or something. Castillo was the first person to have such a season since Corey Kluber in 2015.
Well, I'll never forget when Nolan Ryan went 8-16 and won the ERA title.
1987 at age 40.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
I'm looking at
Andy,
that right now.
Andy led the league in strikeouts, and I think.
Well, yeah, it's Nolan Ryan.
I think it was described in the Saber article about him that he was the first pitcher to lead an ERA in strikeouts and not win the Cy Young.
Really?
I think that was the case.
Like, he led the league in losses, so of course they wouldn't give it to him in 87.
Yeah, I think he was the first to lead in both, and then
how did they explain that back then? Like, how did they go about evaluating that? He was good, but he actually was bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, did they not realize? I'm assuming they did know back in 87, but were they like, how is that not a starting point of, hey, maybe we shouldn't look at losses and wins?
Yeah.
It's like, well, listen, I see that he struck out a lot of batters and he had a very good run prevention, but you know what? He could have won him the games.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm just a little tangent. I'm gonna look at Nolan Ryan's ERA in losses in 1987.
Yeah. Well, I have it pulled up right now. No, I don't. I closed out that tab. Darn.
Yikes. Yeah, 1987, 2.76 ERA led the league, 270 strikeouts led the league, went 8-16.
11.5 strikeouts per 9.
Yeah, at the age of 40, not a big deal. Nolan Ryan, 1987.
The 1987 Astros, by the way, were 76 and 86.
Which, like, you know, it's not good, but it's disproportionate how bad they were when Nolan Ryan was on the mound.
Very.
In losses, he had a 4.19 ERA, which is like usually that a 4.19 ERA would usually garner like a 500 record, but he was 0-16 in those games.
Yes.
In wins, he had a 1.11 ERA. So like when he won, he really, really earned it. And
they gave
decisions. In no decisions, he had a 2.30 ERA.
Off the top of your head, do you know who they gave Cy Young to that year in the NL?
In 1987.
Yeah.
No.
If you get this, I'd be stunned.
No, I don't.
They gave it to a reliever.
Oh. A National League reliever. Yeah, I forget.
Steve Bedrosian.
Yeah.
He just barely won over Rick Sutcliffe. Yeah, no, what a weird Cy Young year. Steve Bedrosian was the only person in the Cy Young voting who had a higher ERA plus than Nolan Ryan. Of course, he pitched 89 innings to Nolan Ryan's 211 and 2/3.
Yeah.
And Nolan Ryan even had a better ERA. He had Bedrosian had a 2.83 ERA. He had how many strikeouts per 9? Let me just do some quick math. 89 innings pitched, 74 strikeouts, not 11.5.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
How many saves did he have?
That's probably it. 40 saves. Yeah.
40 saves in 87 when like guys are going multiple innings.
40 saves, 8 blown saves.
Yeah, but I think when you go, I think
it was probably like 8th inning blown saves though.
Yeah.
I wonder how good he was in the 9th inning that year. I love how we get from Luis Castillo to Steve Bedrosian.
It's a very easy connection to make.
I mean, when you think about it, it just makes sense, right?
It does.
One of them was a reliever, one's a starter. They both pitched in the NL, of course. What was I looking for? The ninth inning. That's what I was looking for. The ninth inning, he had a 2.63 ERA, which is a 102 TOPS plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes to show it shouldn't have moved the needle any bit. He had a 4.05 ERA in the eighth inning, which was 26 2/3 innings pitched.
Yeah.
Probably what most of those
Okay.
blown saves were.
So yeah. So going back to the subject at hand. So in terms of starting pitchers, we just named all of them that I wrote
Yeah.
down.
Who else? Just go through everyone else on your list.
So I just wrote down Luis Castillo, Tyler Mahle, Jose Quintana, Frankie Montas, Martin Perez, and we talked about all of them. Who else did you have for starting pitchers?
Let me just go through my entire list here. Not that many. So I got a lot of relievers. I put JT Brubaker.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I don't know. He could probably be just like a 1-for-1 with like the number 27th ranked prospect in an organization.
Yep. Yeah.
And Merrill Kelly. I also put him.
Yeah, he would be interesting. He's a 3-3 fit.
Another St. Louis guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you imagine if Kyle Hendricks and Merrill Kelly were in the same division?
Oh my God.
We need it.
Handle it. And Adam Wainwright.
Adam Wainwright.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the starting pitch market. Merrill Kelly. He'd be
I don't know if the Diamondbacks would trade him just because he doesn't have that much service time, but I don't know if he's ever gonna. Yeah, he's 33. He's having a good year.
Yeah,
Diamondbacks probably aren't going anywhere, and why not, right?
Yeah. Why not? Exactly. All right. I'll so there's 3 DHs that I could see being moved this year.
JD Martinez.
JD Martinez. He's gonna be on the outskis. The Red Sox.
I mean, it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. Yeah, give him a bad couple months. It's
give the Red Sox a bad couple months.
Yeah,
because he is going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
Very true. So, the 3 DHs I put were Trey Mancini, Nelson Cruz, and Hunter Dozier. Cruz is underperforming. He's been kind of underperforming since he got traded last year to the Rays. But not quite to the degree of this year, as he has like a mid 600s OPS, which is not great. And so I mentioned those 3, and the 4 teams that I saw had low DH production, particularly out of the competitive teams this year, were the White Sox, Padres, Brewers, and Cardinals.
Yep.
Although I don't know, the Cardinals, that's weird because I think Albert Pujols has been doing well.
But they've also been using him in a platoon role.
Yeah, so all 3 of the guys I just mentioned are righties, so
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't be looking for those guys.
I put one of those 3 guys on my list.
Which one?
Nelson Cruz.
I
think if the Orioles were going to trade Trey Mancini, they would have already done it. At this point, it just feels weird to me. Like, he's already been vocal about wanting to stay there and wanting to be there for the entirety of the rebuild. And he wants to be the guy that sort of leads them out of it and into a contending team. I do wonder if they're going to re-sign him next year, because I think that's the real true test. If they don't trade him, I feel like they kind of have to re-sign him, right? Especially he's an easy guy to root for, right? Like, Baltimore's looking for that. They have it right now in Adley Rutschman. They had it last year in Cedric Mullins, and Trey Mancini is a guy that baseball can root for. Like no matter who your team is, that's a guy that you want to see succeed, regardless of where he is. And he's been pretty vocal about wanting to be in Baltimore. So that's not a guy that you want to mistreat if you're that team.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. As for Hunter Dozier, I know the Royals already extended him. Let me check what that deal was. Not that I don't think most teams would shy away from trading a guy after they extended him, but the Royals have already pretty much shown that if we extend you, we are going to keep you no matter what.
Yeah, shout out to Whit Merrifield.
Yeah. So for that reason, I don't think they trade him. I know that they do have a pretty stacked middle infield with, or even just a stacked infield in general with like Bobby Witt Jr., Nicky Lopez, Adalberto Mondesi. If anything, they could probably just throw Dozier at DH if they really need to. Let me check his extension. 4-year, $25 million extension before the 2021 season.
Yeah, they have a team option
probably,
in 2025.
Yeah, probably a team-friendly deal. But I don't think they would trade him after extending him because they have a track record of not doing that. So I did not put Hunter Dozier on my trade block.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely makes sense. And I don't know. There's a couple there's a few outfielders to look at as well. Two guys I put down were Andrew Benintendi and Cole Calhoun, and then there's also potentially like David Peralta. Although Peralta, like
he's like 35.
He's 34.
Okay.
And he just seems like he should be a lifetime Diamondback.
He should be, right? He is a free agent at the end of the year, but he should absolutely be a lifetime Diamondback.
Like that, it wouldn't feel right if he went to another team. I don't know what to say.
Also Tommy Pham.
Yeah, Tommy Pham. I'm sure you wrote more guys.
I'm sure. I wrote way more down. I'm sure a lot of clubhouses want Tommy Pham on their team right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Give me that guy with subpar offense and not great personality.
Yeah.
You know what though? He'll stand up for his teammates. We know that. Even if there's former teammates, he will do it.
Yeah. So in terms of like, if a team's looking at a right fielder, I'm looking. So the Padres have the worst slugging from right fielders out of any team, and Cole Calhoun is someone who's been slugging very well. So maybe there's a fit there potentially.
You know what I kind of just realized about Tommy Pham? He's a guy that should have been a Red like 3 years ago. Like think about that team with just think about the brawl. Amir Garrett, like Yasiel Puig, Trevor Bauer. I know that Puig and Bauer were never teammates, but like Tommy Pham would have fit right in on that team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He also would have tried to fight an entire organization, like Derek Dietrich.
Oh yeah.
Tommy Pham would have been just highly desired in that clubhouse.
Yeah, that would have fit right in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I don't know. I'll just say Cole Calhoun to the Padres would make sense.
Yeah. Is that everyone you wrote down?
I wrote down like 2 relievers because like I don't know, it's hard to evaluate who's good right now.
I wrote more than two relievers.
Yeah, like with relievers it's weird because this season, like the most innings a reliever has is like
19. Yeah.
Yeah. Like David Bednar has 24, and I think that's the most. And then the average reliever has like 16. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll just go through my entire list. Actually, wait, I probably wrote down the 2 relievers you wrote down from. So from the Rangers, I wrote down Martin Perez and Cole Calhoun, who we already talked about. I also wrote down Brad Miller, who's been doing all right for them. He's anywhere Brad Miller goes, it's like, yeah, it's a good guy to have. Yeah. Why not? And Matt Bush, who is 36 years old but has a very good strikeout to walk ratio. Home runs have been a problem for them, but that could probably change on a different team.
Yeah.
From the A's, I wrote down Frankie Montas. I wrote down Sean Murphy, who I'm surprised you didn't mention him with Willson Contreras, because that's a guy that could definitely go.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I don't know how much control he has.
I think he has 2 years left, 2 or 3. Let me see. Let me just make sure.
I think he was a rookie
right.
in 2020.
No, really?
Yeah, I remember he was.
He's still pre-arb. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, he was.
He was 3 after this year, I think.
I just remember him being in trade rumors last year.
Yeah.
So I also have Tony Kemp, who is kind of just, I don't know, he's kind of just there. I have Chad Pinder, who is a free agent after this year. Shout out to David Kilburn.
Yep.
And I have Ramon Laureano. Those are the A's I have on the block.
Yeah, I thought about him. He definitely, it would make sense to have him on the trade block.
The next team I went over was the Orioles. I put down 2 players. I put down Jorge Lopez, who has kind of found himself as a reliever. He had a big uptick in velocity this year. He's a 1.16 ERA, I believe. That's a guy that could be used out of the bullpen in several different organizations. He can be used in any role. He's a closer right now over there. I don't know if that remains as such on a contending team, but I mean, you can never have too many relievers, and Jorge Lopez is one of those guys. And the other guy I have is Rougned Odor. I feel like no matter how he's performing, he'll just be a trade candidate.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. So the Nationals, I wrote down 5 players. I wrote down Josh Bell, who you mentioned earlier, Nelson Cruz, who you mentioned, Tanner Rainey, who is one of your players to watch a couple of years ago, who's been doing well. And I was stunned to learn that Steve Cishek was still in baseball, but he is a 10.7 strikeouts per 9. So there's that. And then I wrote one very controversial name. I think this is a throw and a half. I don't think he gets traded, but I think if there's a surprise trade, it's Victor Robles.
Yeah.
He's still like 25 years old, probably, maybe 26. But do we believe in him?
He's only got, like, after this year, he's only got at most 3 years of control.
Yeah.
Or no. Yeah, 3 years of control, maybe.
Like, at this point, do we think that he can be a part of the Nationals' future? Like, on the next, do we think he's on the next contending Nationals team? I don't know. I don't know if I can say yes to that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if they fire Sale again, you got to start wondering how Juan Soto feels seeing everyone go every single year. Like last year, it was Trey Turner, it was Max Scherzer. This year, it could be Josh Bell, Victor Robles, Nelson Cruz. And I don't know if Victor Robles goes. I'd give it like a 20% chance, but that's probably my edgiest. What if this guy gets traded that I wrote down here?
Yeah, right.
So the next team that I went over was the Miami Marlins. I didn't put too many guys because they're a pretty young team, but I put Joey Wendell down as an infielder. They have a lot of infield options. They have some more coming up with like JJ Bleday. So I just threw him in there. And I wrote two relievers down, Anthony Bass, who is in his 30s, and also my Marlins player to watch, Lewis Head.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 guys I put down from the Miami Marlins. From the Royals, I put down Andrew Benintendi, who you mentioned. I put Whit Merrifield because it's never too late. It is too late, but you know what? It's better than never, right?
Yeah, for
sure. Is he a free agent?
With Merrifield, might be. He might have like an option in 2023.
Yeah, he has a 2024 mutual option, which I have a feeling the Royals probably won't be taking if he continues this kind of play. They did extend him after 2018. Feel like they might be regretting that.
Yeah, but also, Where else
But
is
also
that
that's
money
a
going?
guy. Yeah, that's the guy that's the easiest guy to root for the team for a while. He was, the face. He was kind of the face of the future Royals in like 2017, 18.
Yeah.
But that is kind of no longer, unfortunately. There's also Scott Barlow, who I've been a fan of for a while. I think that could be a more ambitious trade that a team makes that wants help out of the bullpen. And also Josh Stallmont, who throws hard. He has very good strikeout numbers. He's a guy that can work places.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Sticking to the AL Central, I looked at the Guardians because given their record and the teams in the division, they're in a position where traditionally you'd think they'd sell, especially given the people in their front office. I don't think there's anyone they would sell.
Yeah, like I was looking at their like the ages of the players.
I was too.
And it's like all mid-20s.
They have 3 guys who have appeared for them this year that are in their 30s.
Yeah, it's like Brian Shaw and a couple other guys.
Luke Mahle is one of them, and then Anthony Ghost is the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did not write down any Guardians players. And similarly with the Tigers, I only wrote down Willie Peralta. That was the only guy I wrote down as a reliever. He is I think he's a sub-1 ERA, actually. He's been very good.
With the Guardians, Bieber's got 2 years of control left after this year.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it'll happen, but like
no, I think there's reason to believe the Guardians will be competitive by the time Bieber's control ends.
True. Yeah. I would say that's true.
Yeah, Willie Peralta has an 0.89 ERA with a 3.53 FIP.
Yeah.
So
that's with so far in the season, he can get some good differences
yes.
with relievers.
Yes. It's probably a stretch that they would even trade him, but I really don't see who else the Tigers would trade. Like I don't think they're ready to trade like Candelario, or like Grossman.
Right.
Grossman is a free agent at the end of the year though, so maybe they trade him.
Yeah, but
that could be a possibility.
I think he's been very much underperforming.
Yes, I wanted the Red Sox to get him last year because of his walk rate, and he doesn't even really have that now.
Yeah.
He has a 12.6% walk rate, which is solid, but compared to 14.6 last year, it's not exactly where it was. He is slashing 199, 311, 241 with a 553 OPS.
Yeah.
That isn't great.
Yeah.
He is a BABIP of wait, what? He has a BABIP of 304.
Yeah.
He hasn't hit a home run yet. And he has a 30.5% strikeout rate. So I guess that does make a little sense, but I just said 2 because I assumed it was 2. Turns out it's 304. Yeah, so that's probably not great.
Yeah.
You don't even have the he's getting unlucky thing to lie on. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
On the Reds, I wrote Brandon Drury because he's been doing all right for them. I wrote Tommy Pham, Tyler Mahle, Luis Castillo. I also wrote 518 legend Jeff Hoffman, who has been having a solid season for them out of the bullpen. He has, I think, like 2 more years left to control, maybe 3. He has 2 more after this year, so 3 including this year. He has a 2.22 ERA in 24 and a third innings pitched, 285 FIP. Also has been holding the ball in the ballpark, 0.4 home runs per 9, considering the ballpark he plays in, which is impressive.
Yeah, very true.
So I wrote down Jeff Hoffman. On the Pirates, I wrote Jose Quintana and JT Brubaker. I swear to God, if they trade Brian Reynolds, I will lose my mind.
Yeah. Me too.
At this point, they might just trade O'Neal Cruz.
It's like, yeah, I don't think
the fact that he's not in the majors yet is such a wild concept.
Yeah, O'Neal Cruz. I mean, if we bring him up this year, he's under control through 2028. I'm not sure if we're going to be competing by 2028. So
Yeah.
let's
Let's try for 2029. I know that he's going to be 24 in the month of October. But you know what? Like
O'Neal Cruz, he's a bit mature in our system. We could definitely trade him for some young prospects.
Yes. He is. You know what? He's hitting 220 in the minors. That's definitely why.
Yeah. Or
who cares? He has a 330 OBP, a 402 slugging percentage. He has 7 home runs, 5 doubles, 2 triples. What are we doing?
Yeah. Or what could happen is the Pirates like go on an 8-game winning streak from July 22nd to July 29th, and then they trade O'Neal Cruz for Merrill Kelly.
Yes. Yes. It's a full repeat of Chris Archer.
Repeat. Or you could even, unfortunately, Chris Archer is on a competitive team this year in the Twins.
True.
But they could do the exact same thing.
They could.
He has about the same value as he did 4 years ago when they made that trade.
The Pirates have gotten the second lowest production out of shortstops by wins above replacement.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a shortstop they could get to improve that.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that they're trying to win.
Maybe in next year's lockout, they'll change the service time thing.
In next year's lockout.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that the Pirates are trying to compete.
Yeah, no.
the Reds, got pointed out a lot after their big fire sale. I think the Pirates might be outdoing them just with the O'Neal Cruz situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Who is taking at bats for them at shortstop?
Is it Kevin Newman?
Kevin Newman has had 52 plate appearances.
Oh, okay.
It's mostly been Diego Castillo, who I believe they got in was it the Clay Holmes trade? I think it was the Clay Holmes trade.
Who
is, how old is he? He's pretty young. He's promising, but he's not the future shortstop.
Yeah, no way.
He also has a 73 weighted runs created plus. Whatever. I'm not going to look too far into that. He's young.
And then, now I'm curious at what. Compare that to
He is
O'Neal.
24 years old. Yeah.
O'Neal Cruz, MILB. Maybe O'Neal Cruz is just stinking it up in the minors.
He's not really though. I just mentioned he had a 220 average, but he has a 330 OBP.
He's a 732 OPS, but also there is a trend of guys that shouldn't be in the minors, just kind of throwing in the towel in the minors.
Yeah.
There's definitely been...
he knows that if he was in any other organization, he'd be up right now. Even the Reds called up Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo and ignored their service time.
Yeah. So stupid.
They're blatantly being this guy is too good. We need to keep him down here because he would help us win games and he would be available on the free agent market too early.
Yeah, very true.
It couldn't be any more obvious. They're also trying to, I don't know if you saw this, but they're trying to throw him in the outfield, which is only going to decrease his value because they're going to be like, oh, look, he's bad at defense. I guess we, I guess he's not that good. I guess we shouldn't pay him.
Yeah, we put him a catcher and his runs extra strikes have been awful.
Yeah. We tried using him as a relief pitcher. He sucks. Please take him. We'll give you anything.
Oh God. All right. What other teams are you looking at?
Other organizations I looked at the Cubs. I mentioned Willson Contreras. I threw Ian Happ in there. I think that could be an interesting.
Very much trade. So, yeah.
Yeah. David Robertson has been solid out of the bullpen for them. I also threw in Michael Givens, the reliever, and I threw in Patrick Wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oddly enough, I didn't throw in Frank Schwindel because one of them has been performing and one of them hasn't been.
Yeah, true.
Which is it's weird. The Cubs are weird.
Yeah. Um, and then yeah, what else? What other?
So I had two more teams. The Colorado Rockies. The first player I listed was CJ Cron, but I think all other 29 GMs would be smart enough to know that if they trade for CJ Cron, they're not getting the guy that he's been this year.
Yeah, his I looked last night, according to last night, or as of last night, my bad.
Mhm.
As of last night, his road OPS was 660, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's in best interest for both CJ Cron and the Rockies to have him be a Rocky for the rest of his career.
Yes.
I think I would hope the Rockies are smart enough to understand that, but I still threw him in because you know which organization we're talking about here.
Yeah, that's true.
I also threw in Jose Iglesias.
Yeah.
Yeah. I threw in Daniel Bard, who's been solid for them out of the bullpen. I don't think
he
they
was one of
trade
the relievers
Marquez.
I put.
I don't think they trade Marquez. I don't think they trade like Senzatella or Freeland. They literally just extended Freeland and they extended Senzatella last year.
And with those starting pitchers, like they've been struggling this year and their market value isn't great.
Exactly. And I also put Tyler Kinley out of the bullpen, he's been solid. And I put Alex Colomé. Chris, look at Alex Colomé's numbers. It's the funniest thing.
Yeah, let's take a look here. 3.52 ERA, 3.46 FIP. Oh wow. 4.7 strikeouts per 9, 4.1 walks per 9. 0 home runs though. And a 357 BABIP. Okay. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
Very intriguing.
It's
4.7 strikeouts per 9. So yeah, like what were the other Rockies outside of Cronin? Oh yeah, Bard I put down.
Yes.
He's been very good. 3.12 ERA as of last night. Just off the top of my head. Yeah, 3.12 ERA, very good strikeout numbers, which is hard to do, as a Rocky, because I think the air kind of affects guys' spin rates. So
it does.
Hard to get strikeouts, or at least harder to get strikeouts there. Yeah, he would be a very valuable asset. He has 9th inning experience as well. So yeah, that would be very good for a team to get. The other reliever I put was I think David Robertson from the Cubs. Yeah, he's a guy with a lot of experience, and he would be pretty valuable.
Last team I went with was the Arizona Diamondbacks. I put down Christian Walker.
Yeah,
who's been having a revolutionary season. Revelation. I combined two words there. He's been playing very good defense, hitting the ball hard. He had some rough BABIP luck in April, but that's been coming around in May. David Peralta, I also put, even though it feels wrong. And then I put Merrill Kelly. I put Ian Kennedy. I didn't put Mark Melancon because at this point, he has a 7.04 ERA.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
And then I have Noe Ramirez as well.
Right. Red Sox legend.
Yes.
Yeah, Noe Ramirez, like for 3 years with the Red Sox, would consistently just get called up for like a week and then back down to Pawtucket.
Yes.
Yeah, Christian Walker, I had no idea about him. Yeah. 400 expected WOBA.
Yeah.
For those, if you're wondering what that means, I mean, just to put it frankly, he's in the 94th percentile for expected WOBA. So he's only like 6% of the league has been better than him.
Quality of contact plus walks plus strikeouts.
Yeah. If you're curious about any advanced statistics we're using, check out episode 169 for a full breakdown of what we're talking about. But yeah, has a 176 BABIP, which is more than 100 points below league average. That's bad luck. So yeah, should we get into some players to highlight?
Yes, we should.
So yeah, that was our trade. Little bit of a trade breakdown. Christian Walker, I didn't realize how unlucky he was getting. That is insane. Yeah, he's like and yeah, he's a first baseman. And
he's also in like the 90 something percentile, and that's above average too.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, 95th percentile there. And I mean, he like looking at his fielding stats throughout his career, it's always been pretty good. 2019, he had 15 outs above average as a first baseman. That's wild. And this year he has 4, so that would put him on track for something like 15. And yeah, I mean, he's cut down his strikeouts. That's pretty wild. Yeah.
He's definitely a good under the radar option.
Yeah, and I put down the Astros and Twins as potential teams who would like a first baseman. Yeah. So maybe they would.
I could see that as a Houston thing, right?
Yeah.
Like they're all in with like the cutting edge stuff, like the guy that you don't realize is good, that actually turns out to be great.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt about it.
Like I could see. Like, remember when the Astros got like Kevin Gausman? Everyone was like, "Oh my God, they're gonna fix him."
Yeah.
Like I could see Christian Walker going to the Astros, and it's like, "Oh my God, of course they got the guy that everyone was like looking at under the radar."
Yeah. There were a lot of like when Aaron Sanchez went to the Astros.
Yep. Ryan Stanek.
Yeah. I was really convinced on the Kevin Gausman thing. I thought he would be a great Astro, but it was the Giants.
He figured at least someone figured him out.
Yeah.
Now he's a Cy Young candidate.
Yeah, got 110 million and like leads the AL in FIP right now.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty nuts. Yeah, but good for him. Now we'll get into some players to highlight. We'll start off with our 2022 Memorial Day edition of who do you got for us today?
Speaking of the Astros and cutting edge, making the right move that no one expects, it's not a meme anymore. I'm talking about Jeremy Pena.
Yeah, I mean it's
just past May 28th rather than April 28th, which was the meme date of Jeremy Pena is going to be all right. Carlos Correa is going to be having a downish year, and everyone's going to be jokingly saying that Jeremy Pena was the right move. Now it looks like Jeremy Pena was actually the right move.
Yeah.
Over this course of the season, he is slashing 290, 340, 510 for an 850 OPS. That counts for a 148 weighted runs created plus. He ranks 9th among all position players in fWAR, and he leads all shortstops in fWAR. Think about all the big free agent shortstops that we had last offseason. You know, Corey Seager, right? Carlos Correa, Trevor Story. There was also Simeon out there. The one who leads all shortstops in fWAR is the guy that the Astros replaced Correa with. It's funny because we always talk about guys like Carlos Correa, where it's like, well, you can't replace him, but you can try to recreate him. Legitimately, Jeremy Pena might be the best example of any recreation of a big time lost player that we've ever seen.
Yeah, for sure. Like slugging shortstop.
Yes.
I haven't looked at his defensive numbers, but I don't think they're bad.
He's 95th percentile in outs above average, I believe.
That's pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Since May 2nd, he's been even more impressive. He has a slash line of 377, 397, 594 for a 992 OPS for a 191 weighted rated plus. And going back again over the course of the season, he ranks 2nd among all shortstops in barrels per plate appearances. That would be 8.1. The only shortstop above him is Willy Adames. And he has done the most damage against four-seam fastballs compared to anything else of his. Among the 733 pitches from any pitcher to have 25 plate appearance and against them, Jeremy Pena's 389 batting average against four-seamers ranks 32nd among those 733. His 694 slugging ranks 34th, and his 499 WOBA ranks 21st. But all that pales in comparison to his expected statistics. His 384 expected batting average ranks 16th. His 779 slugging percentage ranks 18th, and his 519 expected WOBA ranks 9th. Ninth out of 300, ninth out of 733. That is Jeremy Pena on fastballs, and that is Jeremy Pena in general.
Jeremy Pena. Any CBL alum also.
Yes.
So yeah, Jeremy Pena has been absolutely killing the game. My how about that is a subject. We've actually already covered this team. I'm guilty of doing a repeat team again this early in the season when we have a goal of getting to every team. Well, you know, I have
That's
confidence.
all right.
We'll get to every team, but
We're like almost halfway at this point.
yeah. I'm talking about the Yankees starting rotation.
I don't think we've done the Yankees.
Well, we've talked about the Yankee. I don't think we've done, or
How
no,
about
we
that?
did Clay Holmes.
No, we didn't do a how about that on him. I used him as an all-star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
this
So
is
it's
not
a
a
new
repeat
team.
team. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I just misremembered it. Yeah. So I'm talking about the Yankees starting rotation. And in its last 29 games, the staff has a 2.76 ERA, 3.02 FIP, 5.2 strikeout to walk ratio, and a 20.2% strikeout minus walk rate.
That's insane.
In this span, they are third in ERA, second in strikeout minus walk rate, first in walks per nine, first in strikeout to walk ratio, first in FIP, and first in fWAR. And I'm talking about this Yankees rotation because, like, you know, they're obviously they're usually projected to be a good team, but usually one of their weak spots is their starting rotation. They've always kind of had, that's always been kind of their weak spot. They've always had good offense. They've usually had a good bullpen, but their starting staff hasn't been all that great. But this year it seems to be different. Individually, in this 29 game span from the Yankees, Garrett Cole has a 2.72 ERA, 2.08 FIP, and 39, and that is in 39 and 2/3 innings pitched in 6 starts. And he also leads all pitchers in fWAR in this span. And then Jameson Taillon in this span has a 2.01 ERA, 2.53 FIP in 31 and 1/3 innings pitched in 5 starts. And Nestor Cortez has continued his amazing success, 1.93 ERA, 3.06 FIP in 37 and 1/3 innings pitched in 6 starts in this 29 game span for the Yankees. What's the biggest change for the Yankees has been their walks per nine. Overall this year, they have the lowest walks per nine in the league. Last year their starters had a 2.9 had 2.9 walks per nine, and this year they have 1.9 walks per nine. In their last 12 starts collectively, they have 1.0 walks per nine. You know, so in their last 12 starts, only one batter has got on every 9. You know, has got on via the walk every 9 innings. Also, the Yankees as a whole staff, bullpen and starters, throughout the whole year, they have the highest chase rate in all of baseball, and their starters have been a big part of that. If you look at the percentiles for chase rate this year overall, Nestor Cortez is in the 71st percentile, Garrett Cole is in the 85th, Jameson Taillon is in the 88th, and surprisingly enough, Jordan Montgomery is in the 95th percentile in chase rate. So, you know, they have the lowest walk rate in the league, and they've been killing it in the last 29 games and just killing it all year. They lead, you know, throughout the year overall, Yankee starters lead in fWAR, which is not a sentence that you usually hear. So the Yankees starting rotation getting A.
How about that?
Amazing.
So yeah,
We've covered 13 teams, by the way, so far.
All right, and it's
Yeah, we're almost halfway.
Almost halfway. It's just like the last 4 teams. You're just always like anytime you look at the F4 leaderboards, it's like, I hope it's last year. It was like, oh, I hope there's a Met here.
Yeah. It was like I think the Yankees were one of the last teams we covered last year because they had a tough start. And also, it's tough to cover the Yankees when so many of their players are high profile.
Yes. Yeah, I forget. Like, I think you highlighted Jonathan Loizaga was the first guy. Yeah, that was like the 26 or 27 team we covered. All right. So now we go from the highs to the lows, talking about players and subjects that have been underperforming. Now, for our 2022 Memorial Day edition of
Slightly alarming.
Who do you got for us today?
Chris, at the start of the episode, you mentioned your F4 team and how they were kind of struggling. And one of my guys is on your F4 team, so I'm sorry. I'm talking about Jose Barrios. Yeah, he had a tough start yesterday against the Angels. No strikeouts, 1 walk, 2 home runs allowed. And I was gonna use him as a slightly alarming originally, and then that happened, and I was like, well, that's just too easy.
Yeah.
So through 49 2/3 innings pitched, Jose Barrios has 6.52 strikeouts per 9, which is the lowest of his career by over a full strikeout. He has 1.63 home runs per 9, which is his highest since 2016, and a 31.4% ground ball rate, the lowest of his career by 7%. And his 13.1% drop in ground ball rate between last year and this year is the 13th largest drop among the 245 qualifiers between the 2 years. And 3 of his 4 pitches that he throws, we talk about how Jose Barrios has such great stuff. That's kind of been what he was best known for since he came up. But 3 of his 4 pitches have an expected batting average above 310. And the one pitch that doesn't, which is his curveball, has a 67-point difference between average and expected batting average. So even that one should be getting hit more than it is, even if it's not at a 310 clip. And all 4 of his pitches have a 530 expected slugging or higher against. 30% of all pitches he has thrown have ended up in game day zones 4, 5, 7, or 8. What that means is that it's on the inner part of the plate or the low inner part of the plate to a righty. And that's 30% of his pitches. That is tied for the highest rate among the 139 pitchers with at least 500 pitches thrown. And the pitches that he throws in those zones have a 358 expected batting average and a 747 expected slugging percentage. So Jose Barrios, he's been missing location a lot. It hasn't been working for him. And it could be argued that he's actually getting lucky.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, Jose Barrios.
Slightly alarming.
So, yeah, once again, we're on the same page. I also had Jose Barrios. So we'll give some more stats. It's a bad day to be Jose Barrios. So in his last 5 starts, he has a 7.01 ERA and a 5.01 FIP. Out of 68 qualifying pitchers in his last 5 starts, his ERA ranks 3rd worst. Overall, on the year, out of 61 qualifying pitchers, his FIP ranks 8th worst, and his home runs per 9 rank 6th worst. And then, just going to the Savant page, it's brutal.
It's bad.
His average exit velocity is 8th percentile, hard hit percentage 11th percentile, expected WOBA and expected ERA is 2nd percentile, expected batting average 3rd, expected slugging 2nd, barrel rate 9th percentile, and strikeout rate even is 15th percentile. Whiff rate is 9th percentile. It's just brutal across the board. And then, his strikeout rate is at its lowest. It's been in his career at 16.2%, and it's never been below 22% since his first year in the league. After never having a ground ball rate below 39.1%, it is 30.6% this year. That is a difference of 8.5 percentage points. His line drive rate is also a career high by 5.5 percentage points. And what was interesting to me was last year hitters slugged 538 off his 4-seam fastball, which was the highest slugging percentage off any of his pitches. For some reason, he's increased his usage of his 4-seam fastball by 9.8 percentage points this year.
I
and
noticed that
now
as
they're
well.
slugging 638 off of it. So like he took his worst pitch and he used it by almost 10% more.
I was going to highlight that, but I was like, you know what? Every pitch has not been good. So what's the point of being like, well, you should be throwing this one more, even though you'll get hit on that too.
Yeah. And like his curveball, yeah, you mentioned his curveball isn't doing crazy bad, but even that, it's like the usage has been about the same as it was last year. He just increased the fastball.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, I've noticed Barrios on my team. Like, I mean, last like on the Blue Jays last year, his strikeout minus walk rate was great, and then yeah, this year, I don't know, maybe it was the thing, he just got a contract. Maybe it was a thing where I don't think it really ever happens. I think it's just cliche, but like where you get a contract and you just start,
I don't
you
think,
just don't
that's the
perform well.
case.
Yeah, but like he's not doing well at all this year. I mean, the strikeout numbers are very alarming. But for today, we are giving collectively Jose Barrios a
Slightly alarming.
All right, so that does it for players to highlight for good and bad reasons. And time to get into a preview of the week ahead. I will be talking about some series to watch. Daniel will be talking about some day-by-day matchups that he himself is looking at. And yeah, as far as series go, there are 3 intriguing ones, I would say. We start off with a playoff rematch. I don't know if anyone I don't know if a lot of people remember from 2020, but Padres Cardinals. That is going to be in St. Louis. But both teams, I think if the season ended today, would have a playoff spot.
Yes, they would. They would both be wild cards.
Yeah, they would both be. Yeah, they hold the 1 and 2 spots in the wild card race. So that's a good series matchup to look at. I believe, that is a 3-game series. Then starting on Tuesday, we have Yankees Angels at Yankee Stadium. That should be a good one. Although the Angels just came off a tough series against the Blue Jays, so we'll see if they can bounce back against a different AL East team. And then lastly, we have Blue Jays White Sox to look at. Blue Jays just came off a good series against the Angels, just as mentioned, and White Sox are, we know they're an AL Central favorite, so we'll see if they can put up a competitive series against the Blue Jays, who we both picked to win the AL East, and
I picked them to win the World Series.
I picked them. Yeah, I picked them to win the American League as well, not just the AL East. But yeah, that does it for series to watch. What do you got for day-by-day matchups?
So today, I'm looking at a lot of things. There's not a ton of great pitching matchups today, but I think one thing that's interesting is in the first end of the doubleheader between Brewers Cubs at Wrigley, Ethan Small for the Brewers and Matt Swarmer for the Cubs will both be making their major league debuts against each other.
Oh, sick.
That'll be a fun one. The second end, you got Aaron Ashby versus Drew Smyly, which you might be thinking, Drew Smyly's still playing? He is. Yeah. He's on the Cubs. You have not a lot of great pitching today. You have Logan Webb versus Kyle Gibson in Phillies Giants. That'll be a good one. You have Pablo Lopez pitching for the Marlins against the Rockies at Coors. You have Rich Hill pitching for the Red Sox in the finale of the 5-game series at Fenway. You have Drew Rasmussen facing the Rangers at Globe Life Field for the Rays. You have Spencer Strider versus Zach Gallen in Braves Diamondbacks at Chase Field, and you have Walker Buehler going for the Dodgers tonight at Dodger Stadium against the Pirates. Matchup of the night comes from Astros and A's at the Coliseum. Framber Valdez versus Paul Blackburn, who hasn't gotten enough credit. He's started throwing his sinker a lot more. He's getting a lot of ground balls. If you want ground balls, this is the matchup to watch. Framber Valdez versus Paul Blackburn.
Yeah.
I mean, any game with Framber Valdez, if you like ground balls, you got to be watching that one.
Yes.
Just goes without saying. On Tuesday, you have Cal Quantrill going for the Guardians against the Royals. You have Ranger Suarez going for the Phillies against the Giants. You have George Kirby going for the Mariners against the Orioles at Camden. You have Noah Syndergaard versus Jordan Montgomery in Angels and Yankees at Yankee Stadium. You have Luis Castillo going for the Reds against the Red Sox at Fenway. Patrick Corbin and Trevor Williams facing each other in Citi Field. Nationals, by the way, in their game today, World Series is on the line.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. Just look at their record.
Also, Patrick Corbin has been like a reverse of years past. Like he has a high ERA, but his FIP is very low. And he's not giving up a ton of home runs. Let me look at the exact numbers. I want to get this right. But last I checked, he was okay. I mean a 6.30 ERA, but a 4.52 FIP. So I guess it's still not great. But I mean, he's given up 1.1 home runs per 9, which is much better than the 1.8 he'd given up between 2020 and 21. That's a plus. Adam Wainwright will be going for the Cardinals against the Padres at St. Louis. Martin Perez will be going for the Rangers against the Rays at Globe Life. Eric Lauer versus Justin Steele in Brewers Cubs. This is the series of lefties. Aaron Ashby versus Drew Smiley, then Eric Lauer versus Justin Steele. That's a good one. Herman Marquez will be going for the Rockies against the Marlins at Coors. Christian Javier and Frankie Montas will be facing each other in A's Astros in the Coliseum. Charlie Morton will be going for the Braves against the Diamondbacks at Chase. Julio Urias will be going for the Dodgers against the Pirates. Matchup of the night, probably the easiest one of the week. Comes from Blue Jays and White Sox at Toronto. You have Lucas Giolito versus Kevin Gausman.
Yeah.
That's the best matchup of the week. You're going to want to watch that one. And then we turn the calendar to June. On Wednesday, you have Carlos Carrasco going for the Mets against the Nationals at Citi Field. You have not a lot of matchups announced. You have Justin Verlander versus Cole Irvin in Astros A's in the Coliseum. You have Kyle Wright versus Madison Bumgarner in Braves Diamondbacks. That's matchup of the night. You have Robbie Ray going against the Orioles, facing a former division rival. You have Reed Detmers versus Nestor Cortez in Angels Yankees. You have Michael Kopech versus Hyunjin Ryu in White Sox Blue Jays. That's an intriguing one. Hunter Green against the Green Monster at Fenway. Red Sox haven't announced a setter. This is a good one. Not matchup of the night, but Bailey Ober versus Tarek Skubal in Twins Tigers at Comerica. That is a good one. Under the radar, sneaky good matchup. You have Jeffrey Springs versus John Gray in Rays Rangers. Kyle Hendricks will be going for the Cubs against the Brewers. Not a lefty, unfortunately, doesn't count. Jose Quintana versus Mitch White in Pirates Dodgers. Matchup of the night comes from the Giants Phillies game. You have Carlos Rodon versus Aaron Nola. That's a pretty easy one as well.
Couple of guys with much lower FIPS than ERAs.
Yes.
All right. So that'll do it for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to our YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. If you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta, and follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you on Thursday, where we'll be talking about all the happenings in Major League Baseball once again. See you then.
This conversation is over.